Okay, so this chapter is actually in sequence after the photosynthesis process that we know of. So we know reproduction, the structures within the plants, and so on. We know the transport system, that is xylem and phloem, different types of tissues, and so on. And now the next after photosynthesis is the respiration. The general misconception with respect to with respect to the respiration that we have, we always relate it to the inhalation and exhalation, right? So but this is not that respiration we are talking about. We are talking of the cellular respiration. So whenever we speak the term respiration in plants, it means the respiration at the cellular level, that whatever the processes happens within the respiration. So this usually refers to the larger process. Like in general, respiration is giving carbon dioxide and taking oxygen. So this respiration is also the same, just at the cell level. Yeah.
The cellular level, do we mean like under the respiration of the entire plant at a smaller scale, or how a cell of a plant respiration?
Yeah, exactly. That's the second part.
Oh.
So in this syllabus, we have different like topics within it. So the whole of the process we need to know. How does the respiration happens? What is the outline of the process? Gaseous exchange, which is same like CO2 and oxygen. Then there are these two new terminologies that will be introduced to you. I mean, I suppose you haven't learned this before.
It
You
seems
have?
familiar. I think we did it with
Okay.
Kasturi of like 7th.
Okay.
Yeah, we did.
Perfect. Then even more easier to take you through this. So there is this glycolysis and Krebs cycle, which we'll talk again a little bit about, not completely, because it's a huge process mechanism. And of course, the aerobic and anaerobic respiration and the chemical equations related to it. And most importantly, various experiments to prove these points within the respiration. So that's the content. So respiration, why it is required? Because we as a living organism, we need energy to perform various life processes, and life processes can mean anything. Let's say in human we can say breathing in and out, that itself will need certain energy. Digestion of food will need certain energy. Movement will need certain energy. Thinking process, passing on the signal from one nerve to the other nerve, that itself need lot of energy. So this is with respect to human. In case of plant, we have seen certain active processes in terms of like taking up the nutrients from the soil or transporting the glucose molecule from one place to the other. So all of these are active processes and they also need energy. Or metabolic processes in plant or animals or humans, all of these metabolic processes, they also need energy. And where do we obtain this energy? Is from the oxidation of certain macromolecules, what we call as food in general. Yes, Shiv.
So will this chapter come for the exams?
Yes.
Okay.
So only green plants and the cyanobacteria. Has anyone heard of the cyanobacteria category?
Oh, yes.
What is it?
Sir, it is the bacteria that is independent of making their own.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they are also called as blue-green algae. So they have this ability to do the function of photosynthesis on their own, like green plants they do. So they will synthesize glucose. So they trap light energy, convert it into chemical energy, and that chemical energy is utilized for synthesis of other compounds like glucose to starch or sucrose and so on. Come here. So in green plants, not all cells or all the tissues or organs, they do photosynthesis function. It's only those which are green, they do the function of photosynthesis, which is quite obvious because they are the ones which have chlorophyll. The other cells which does not have chlorophyll, they cannot do the function of photosynthesis, but they will still need nutrition. So how do they obtain that nutrition? Is with the help of this green pigment containing cells. So that is the general outline of this photosynthesis in the green plant. So even in the green plants, all the other organs like cells, tissues which are non-green, they need food for oxidation, that is generation of energy. And hence the food has to be translocated from non-green plants to the, from green parts of the plant to the non-green parts of the plant. And in case of animal, we know that they are all heterotrophic. They obtain their energy from other organisms.
How does cyanobacteria produce its own food?
They have this chlorophyll.
Oh, even they do.
Yeah. Yes. Someone has raised hand.
Yeah, me, Anavi.
Yes, Anavi.
So, you said that only the green parts, all the green parts are those that may do photosynthesis. But like, isn't it like in a plant only the leaf does photosynthesis, or if the stem is green, will the stem also do photosynthesis?
Stem cells, they do, some of them, which are green in color. Means if they have chlorophyll pigment, they will do photosynthesis.
Okay.
And of course, like you said, leaf is the major component which does a maximum amount of photosynthesis. So let's say root or stem needs energy for certain physiological processes, they get food from the leaf. And someone else
Okay,
has
sir.
also raised hand. Who is it? I can't see.
Shiv had his hand.
Shiv, you have a question?
No.
Okay. So, yeah, so the plants and cyanobacteria, they are autotrophic, animals are heterotrophic, and fungi, these are saprophytic. So, and all of them, they obtain the energy from whatever process they are feeding on. Even though plants, they are autotrophic, they will undergo certain process, obtain energy. Even though animals eat food and depend on other for food, they still generate energy, which is of the similar nature. Even the fungi, which are again third type in terms of nutrition, that is saprophyte, they are surviving on the dead or decaying matter, but still they undergo the same process of the energy generation. So what exactly is that process then? So all the food like that we eat or that is present within a particular organism comes from the photosynthesis, right? And the after the photosynthesis, the cellular respiration, or what is called as mechanism of breakdown of food materials, right? Like that happens within the cell, will release energy. So in photosynthesis, solar energy is trapped. That energy is utilized to make glucose from carbon dioxide, right? Same energy is used, then that glucose molecule is broken down, that glucose will release the energy, and that energy will be trapped inside the cell in the form of ATP. Anyone knows full form of ATP?
Adenosine triphosphate.
Huh. What is it?
Adenosine triphosphate, right?
But what does it do? Why is it energy molecule? Huh?
Oh, yeah, sir. It is like a currency in cells, like an energy currency. Yeah.
So it's like storing energy in a compound, and when we need energy, the compound breaks and releases energy.
How does it store energy?
So
In
It
fat.
has like
vacuoles.
1 minute, huh? Yeah.
Vacuoles.
In its bonds.
Yeah, in its bonds.
Oh.
Someone else has raised hand again. I can't see people.
Pratham.
Pratham.
so the energy is stored in fat, right?
So now there is a distinction when we are talking of the food material storing energy and the basic unit of energy storing that energy. So these are two different things. So what Pratham you said of the fat is the storage of energy. Yes, of course, because fat will ultimately be broken down. That energy will be utilized to synthesize the ATP molecule, and then the ATP will be stored or like can be used for synthesis of other molecule. It is like uh, for example, yeah, analogy I can give you. US has certain currency, India has certain currency, but we cannot just directly use rupees or dollar to exchange with each other, right? There has to be some relation between them. So, like dollar is higher at the moment. It has been higher since ages, but yeah, dollar is at higher. So, fat is something like that. Fat molecule or any of these fatty acids, they have quite a lot of energy, and that is when to store ATP is not that great. So instead we would store the higher energy form, that is fat, or for example glycogen, which is a series of glucose. To store one glucose I will need the certain energy, and to store one glycogen probably I would need the same amount of energy. So why not to store glycogen, which is a longer and bigger molecule? So something like that in with respect to the fat and ATP. So the we know this particular fact that photosynthesis takes place in the chloroplast. Chloroplast, that special organ present in the plant cells and especially in the eukaryotes. Whereas the breakdown of complex molecule, that is the process of respiration, takes place at two different places. One is in the cytoplasm and the other one is in mitochondria. What exactly and how exactly, that we'll see on the next slide. So but just to make a distinction between where photosynthesis happens, it happens in chloroplast. Where does respiration happens? It happens in cytoplasmic space and of course mitochondria. So breaking of the carbon-carbon bond of the complex compounds through the process of oxidation within the cell, that will release the considerable amount of energy, and this process is called as respiration. So whatever food you eat, let's say you eat wheat or chapati or rice, that has lot of starch. Stop doing it, please. What was I saying? Yeah. So it has lot of starch, that means lot of long chain carbon compounds. So the moment you break these carbon-carbon bonds, that bond energy is released. That energy is trapped in the form of ATP. That means like again ATP molecule is synthesized. So you release bond breaking energy, and that bond breaking energy is utilizing the bond formation energy of another compound. So from fatty acid molecule, you transfer that bond breaking energy to what we say ATP. So it used to be ADP, then adenosine diphosphate. You add one more phosphate molecule, so it becomes ATP, adenosine triphosphate. So that third phosphate group is getting bonded with the ADP. So that chemical energy is stored in the cells. So that is the whole process of respiration. So the compounds that are oxidized, that means broken down in this process, they are known as respiratory substrates. So for simplest example, in plant, glucose is synthesized as food, and then glucose is broken down in respiration process. So that glucose is the respiratory substrate. In general, substrate refers to a term or a compound which is getting acted upon. So in a chemical reaction, let's say on copper, you add sulfuric acid. So copper becomes a substrate, right? Because you are changing the property of that copper or changing the property of that substrate over the time. So that is something like respiratory substrate. So glucose will change its property over the time. It becomes some carbon dioxide molecule, and it will release all the energy. So that is something like respiratory substrate.
Could you explain the second point once more?
Which second point?
This slide.
Oh. So the cellular respiration or the mechanism of breakdown of the food material within the cell is to release the energy. That means within a cell there are certain molecules, they will be broken down. that breaking down will release the energy that will be trapped in the form of ATP.
Oh,
That's it.
the bond energy.
Bond energy, correct. And yeah,
Aren't ATP stored? No, I mean, aren't fats stored, not ATP?
fats are also stored, no? But ATP is a energy currency, right? Currency means it's a quick usage. Right? Quick usage as in, like when you want to go and buy something, you can easily give money and take that thing, right? So if a particular chemical reaction has to happen, to start from the fat molecule and to generate ATP, it will be very difficult. So it's best to have the ATP already prepared. Crypto.
So I had a question.
You had or you have?
I still
Huh.
have. What happens if we still don't, what happens if that these cells don't have any ATP? Can they won't be able to do it?
They can break down certain other compounds and generate ATP.
Because ATP needed anyways.
No, like, sorry, they cannot, like, without ATP, can they do anything?
I guess so. A cell should develop another mechanism. As of now, no. But if you talk about the process of adaptation and evolution,
Adaptation, yeah.
yes, it is very much possible. So usually what we know of carbohydrates as glucose, they are oxidized. Again, that term oxidation or oxidization refers to breakdown of the bigger compound. Yeah. So do not get confused with this word with anything else. Of course, in chemistry, you have this oxidation reduction, which is the addition of oxygen. That is simpler oxidation definition. So usually these carbohydrates, they are broken down or oxidized to release energy, but proteins, fats, and even organic acid, they can also be used as respiratory substrate in some plants under certain conditions. So we know that glucose is a faster source of energy. And the reason is because it's simpler molecule, it can be broken down very simplistically within a particular cell. But at the same time, if it is a protein or fat molecule or any other type of organic acid, there are so many fatty acids within the body. Any of these can also act as a respiratory substrate and can also be broken down. But the first mechanism that is favored by the body or by the cell is of the carbohydrate or of the glucose. And that is when, like, a simplest like relatable action I can tell you, like whenever you feel dizzy or you faint, first thing that people give you is glucose water or Glucon-D, right? Because glucose is a very fast source of energy. It generates energy faster compared to the other molecules. They do generate energy as well.
Can
But
we
it's sugar, right?
ATP?
1 minute, huh?
Can we compare glucose with ATP?
Can we compare glucose with ATP in the form of what?
Like
Or-
ATP is also quick energy sometimes.
Yeah, but after glucose down, you get ATP as the energy.
So,
No, ATP is the
After-
next stage after breaking down glucose.
Yeah.
Glucose is just there to break it down.
So just maybe I guess there is little confusion. So let's say you have a glycogen or starch molecule, which is polymer of glucose. You break it down, what you get is glucose, right? And that breaking the bond can be stored as ATP. That energy which is released in the breaking the bond of the starch molecule, which is glucose, 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 and so many glucose molecules. So if you separate each glucose molecule, you are ultimately breaking the bond between each glucose. That can be trapped into ATP. Within glucose, if you break down carbon-carbon bond, it's glucose is 6 carbon compound, right? So each carbon, if you break it down from the adjacent carbon, you can again release certain energy, and again that can be stored as ATP. Yeah. Huh. 1 minute. Someone had a question earlier. Ishan, I guess, right? Or Pratham?
It was me.
Okay, Shiv, say it.
Glucose is just sugar molecules, right?
Yes, glucose is a sugar molecule.
Yeah.
But sugar again does not mean that whatever sugar we eat is like we apply the same thing to all the other sugars. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So that sugar ultimately refers to the carbohydrate molecule. any type of carbohydrate.
So not it.
Yeah.
Glucose related or like.
Adrenaline is
What is it?
Like even in potatoes.
Yes, even in potato. No, they are not related. Related in what sense? But
The function.
no. This is purely, ATP is purely energy molecule.
So, but both adrenaline and glucose provide energy.
Adrenaline provides energy by allowing the cell to take more and more glucose so that can be broken down
I can see.
and form more and more ATP. That is the adrenaline function. We commonly say I have adrenaline rush. That means I am highly energetic. That is because it stops. It enhances the ability of the cell to increase the uptake of glucose. There are these glucose transporters. They are called as gluc transporters, which takes up. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else has any other question? Okay, so I assume there are no questions. So then there is basic difference that I have pointed it out here in terms of I have copied this from somewhere in terms of respiration and photosynthesis. You can read it on your own. I am not going to talk about it because this you would know already for sure.
So,
Yes,
what does catabolic mean in the previous slide?
I will talk about it. It will come. Every point will be covered. So now coming back, and again this would be repetition because we already had quite a few questions. So respiration, all the living cells, they need or require energy for various body activities, and the examples are given. So we know something to move ourselves or to do certain function, we need energy. But at the same time, for building protein molecule or building fat molecule or building starch like molecule, there also energy is required, or for absorption of chemicals from the soils, there also the energy is required. This energy is made available by the breakdown of glucose that we already know by now, and the complete combustion of glucose. Combustion means complete breakdown. Combustion in literal sense means burning. Yeah. Oxidation reaction kind of thing. But so that complete breakdown of glucose molecule into carbon dioxide and not hydrogen oxide, water as the end product will release the energy and also give out certain amount of heat. So not all of the bond breaking energy is converted into ATP, rather some of it is also lost as heat within the molecule.
So is it like fuel or is it there to ignite that?
No, this heat has nothing to do with ignition also. This is just a increase in temperature.
The energy spent into increasing that temperature.
Energy spent between? No. So whatever bond breaking energy, which is a chemical energy, was there.
Some of it is stored.
Some of it is stored in the form of ATP and some of it is liberated. That chemical energy gets converted into heat energy, and that is what is released. And that's when, because of that heat energy, the temperature increases.
Oh, that's why like when you breathe out of your mouth, it's like cold air. I mean hot air.
Yeah. Okay. Now, so if we have to write down the equation of this respiration, like for photosynthesis, you write exactly opposite, like CO2 plus H2O will form C6H12O6, that is glucose and CO2. So in respiration, we have to write exactly opposite of it. So from glucose, when it combines with oxygen, it will at the end break it itself into carbon dioxide molecule and water molecule, and plus it will release some amount of energy, ATP.
So, is this a reversible reaction?
No, this is not a reversible reaction. The reason being, like when we write a chemical equation, we have not written the intermediate steps. But now this specific reaction, so formation of glucose itself is quite lengthy process. It's not one step reaction. In chemistry, when we write this one step, we usually assume that it is one step reaction. But in biology, that need not be true. So formation of glucose from carbon dioxide to water is also not one step reaction, and breaking down of glucose into carbon dioxide and water is surely not one step reaction. So glucose will break down into 3 carbon compound, that is we will see further. That itself takes 10 steps, and then from there if it has to broken down further to a single carbon compound, that will take another I guess 6 or 7 steps. So it's like kind of very long process. So breakdown of glucose to carbon dioxide and water does not occur in a single step, but a series of chemical steps. And these steps, they occur in 2 main phases. So that is glycolysis, first step, in which glucose, that is 6 carbon compound, will be broken down to pyruvate, which is 3 carbon compound. And this reaction happens in the cytoplasmic space. Krebs cycle, that is the second phase.
So over here, it shows that the glucose and the oxygen, which is the oxygen is the oxygen that the plant breathes in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So over there it shows it becomes into 6 CO2, which is the carbon that is released, and is the 6H2 or the transpired water,
Yeah.
and then that's the energy gotten by breaking down those.
Yes, correct. So in this whole of the breakdown process, first step we saw was glycolysis, that is from glucose 6 carbon to pyruvate 3 carbon, and that happens in cytoplasm. The second step of the breakdown is Krebs cycle, named after this guy. So Krebs cycle, and it's a cyclic process because the end product again gets involved into the whole of this process, where this 3 carbon compound will get broken down into 1 carbon compound, that is carbon dioxide and water, and energy is released, and this reaction happens in mitochondria.
So pyruvate, so can you repeat the?
I will show it to you. I hope I don't have any diagrams. Yeah. So let me show you this diagram. Okay. Wow. Why? To show. Sorry.
Control T.
What control T? Control T? कहाँ है control T?
डबल क्लिक on that and move it.
Control T.
वहाँ पे
वही
you
सर।
tap scratch, you just pause,
Huh?
you pause it.
Yes, screen share is paused. How do
ये
you?
मतलब share back.
Okay. I hope those people will be able to see. What I wanted to show is glycolysis reactions. Now let me just glycolysis. So yeah, if you look at this is the glycolysis reaction. So it starts with glucose, then it goes into glucose 6-phosphate and so on. So there are several reactions that happens, and these are all enzymatic reactions. And at the end, what you get is pyruvate. So there are 2 molecules of pyruvate. That is because glucose is 6 carbon compound. 6 will be broken down into 3 carbon, 3 carbon. So that is why you get 2 pyruvate molecules. And after this 2 pyruvate molecule, then it enters into Krebs cycle. And this is how a Krebs cycle look like. So in this Krebs cycle, pyruvate molecule will enter in the form of acetyl CoA. So from that 3 carbon compound, it will form. So pyruvate will form acetyl CoA, and then it will enter into this cycle, which will release lot of energy. You can see these are the energy molecules. They ultimately make ATP and so on, but these are the energy molecules which are being released into this. And you can see the last product, it enters back into the cycle, and then the cycle continues upon the new addition of this pyruvate molecule. So that's what is Krebs cycle. And again, you can see this is like a many step reaction. So whatever we had shown as an equation on this slide is actually almost 15 to 16 step long process combined into the reactants and product. So each of the breakdown step, like I showed in the glycolysis, there were several 10 of those steps. They have one particular enzyme for one particular reaction. So first stage was from glucose to glucose 6-phosphate. Again, you need not remember this, but that is done by one particular enzyme. Second reaction will be taken by another enzyme and so on. So for each specific reaction, there is an individual enzyme. So the energy that is liberated in the breakdown of the glucose molecule is not all in the form of heat, but large part of it is converted into chemical energy in the form of adenosine triphosphate. This we already know. Now, does anyone have any question here? Okay, so this slide is kind of summary of whatever we had looked at so far. So this is the whole cellular space. Within the cellular space, glycolysis happens. That is the synthesis, breakdown of the glucose into pyruvic acid. This process will generate 2 ATP molecules. This pyruvic acid will enter into mitochondria, undergoes Krebs cycle. This will release carbon dioxide and it will generate 36 molecules of ATP. Again, this is a sequence of reactions, so it enters into electron transport chain. That is what is being shown here, and that will generate 36 ATP.
So,
So-
this is like oxidation, right? Because
Yeah,
Exactly 36.
how exactly 36? Okay, so that is, we will have to go here. ATP. I'm not sure if it will show here, but yeah, I guess here we can calculate it. So it's ideally what happens is, let me show it to you here, which is a little bigger image. So let's say this NAD molecule is generated, NADH is generated. This is equivalent to 3 ATP, right? So 3 plus 3, 6. Then there is, I guess this is equivalent to 1. GTP is equivalent to ATP. So that is 7 guanosine triphosphate. And then these are equivalent to 2 of these. So there will be 7 plus 8, 9. And this again 3, 12. Correct? Now this 12 is from 1 pyruvate. So for 2 pyruvate molecule, it will be 24. Am I right? Yeah. And then how many we had calculated? 36. Okay, so I'm surely missing something. Then GTP will be equivalent to more of those molecules and even FADH2. I'm not sure of this. Let me go back here. Something is missing for sure. Where is that Khan Academy? I will show. Krebs cycle, ATP calculation. So this website actually calculates all of it. By the way, this is a very good resource to study something. It actually has lot of like information. So it generates 3 NADH, that is 3 3s are 9, 1 FADH2. We have to see how much FADH2 is equivalent to. Just a minute, people. We should find out this answer for sure because it's there. Where are you, Miss Ovi? Surely. Okay, I can't find it out, but let's calculate back here. Where was that? Here. So these 3 into 3 is 9, is 10. Yeah, 10. This one GTP, no ATP was found. And then the remaining are these ones. So that is 2 plus 2. No, 1. So that should be only 12. 12. Something is missing. Oh yeah, we are not counting the glycolysis reaction. Of course, we are not counting the glycolysis. We are only
Oh, yeah.
looking at the Krebs cycle,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you calculate it in general, that becomes total 38 molecules. Yeah. Again, I will show it to you tomorrow for sure where exactly it is coming from, because I had done the same topic with class 11, and they should I should know it, but I don't. I'm getting Buddha. Yeah, but yeah, fine. So this is the whole of the respiration process. I guess we can stop here today. Yeah, and next class we will continue with this respiration process where we will talk about anabolic and catabolic reaction. So your question, catabolic, it's coming here. Yeah.
Yes, tomorrow.
Okay, I guess let's stop here, people.